The reason you're stuck isn't because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you're trying too damn hard with no strategy. Hustle doesn't equal results. Execution with precision does. Most people think success is about grinding harder, pushing longer, and forcing outcomes. Wrong. That mindset creates desperation, not domination. Real power comes when you detach from the noise and move with calculated intent. Today, I'll show you why trying too hard is the very thing blocking your breakthrough. Trying too hard reeks of neediness, and success, it doesn't chase needy people. Desperation signals weakness, it clouds judgment, and it repels opportunity. Winners move like they already own the damn room. If you're overcompensating, it means you're not confident in your execution. Fix the inner game first. The truth is, desperation is a repellent. It's the stench of someone who doesn't believe they belong at the table but is begging for scraps anyway. And that mindset is loud. People can smell it. It shows up in your eyes, in your tone, in the way you speak, sell, lead, or even walk into a room. When you try too hard to impress, to prove, to push your way into success, you're telegraphing one thing: I'm not enough as I am. And that belief kills momentum before it even starts. You don't close high-level deals by panting like a dog at the door. You walk in knowing the value you bring. That calm, collected energy of someone who doesn't need approval, that's what people trust. That's what wins. Because people don't follow desperation, they follow certainty. Desperation makes you chase the wrong clients, say yes to bad deals, cling to toxic relationships, or work 100-hour weeks without progress. It's not drive, it's dysfunction. When you operate from a place of lack, your mind becomes foggy. You stop making bold, clear moves. You start second-guessing everything. You spiral into overthinking. Every step feels like a test instead of a statement. And that's how you end up stuck, burning out, frustrated, constantly grinding, but never actually winning. Success requires strength, not supplication. You don't beg your way to the top. You build your way there with grounded self-respect and ruthless discipline. So how do you stop operating from desperation? You go inward. You stop looking for external validation and start auditing your own belief system. Do you believe you deserve to win? Or are you trying to prove something to people who couldn't care less? Most people are trying to impress ghosts. Their parents, their ex, their critics, their high school haters. And they wonder why their success feels empty even when they get close. Because it was never about purpose, it was about approval. Real winners don't need applause. They move with purpose. They execute without over-explaining. They trust the process because they trust themselves. That's the difference between force and flow. Desperate energy creates noise. Powerful energy creates gravity. The world leans in when you move from power, not panic. Remember, lions don't roar to prove they're lions. They walk with presence. Confidence doesn't scream, it whispers. And when you know who you are, you stop trying to convince the world. You just show up and dominate. Fix the desperation. Fix the self-doubt. Because until you fix the inner game, the outer game will always be chaos. When you try to force everything, results, people, timing, you create friction. Never try to kick open a locked door when the key's in your pocket? That's you. Hustling without direction is wasted motion. Be smart. Use leverage. Let pressure do the heavy lifting, not your ego. Because here's the truth. Most people are too stubborn to admit. Force is the weapon of the insecure. When you don't trust yourself, when you don't trust the process, when you don't believe that things will unfold through strategy and structure, You start muscling your way through everything. You try to drag results out of thin air. You suffocate opportunities by clinging too tight. And the more you force, the more resistance you generate. That's physics. You press harder, life pushes back. You grip tighter and things slip right through. You see it in business, you see it in relationships, you see it in yourself. You hustle 18 hours a day, but you're running on fear. You make 50 calls, but your energy is desperate. You say you're committed, but what you really are is chaotic. Success doesn't answer to chaos. It bows to calculated certainty. It aligns with people who move with power, not panic. You don't break doors down in life, you open them. But to open them, you've got to know where the hinges are. You've got to understand timing, leverage, and energy. That's how high-level players operate. They don't scream their way to results. They set the stage, and they strike when it's time. They've done the prep. They've put in the hours. But they're not forcing anything. They're aligning with it. That's the real game. That's elite level control. And that's what most of you miss. You think your emotions, your exhaustion, your obsession proves your worth. It doesn't. It just shows you don't know how to play the damn game yet. You think grinding proves you're serious. But seriousness without strategy is just suffering. Stop forcing every move like a fool. Step back, breathe, assess the terrain. Because that mountain you're screaming at isn't gonna move because you yelled louder. It'll move when you finally figure out where to plant the dynamite, not where to throw punches. Smart execution beats brute force every single time. You've got to master the art of using tension to your advantage. Learn to pull, not push. Learn to set traps, not just chase. Learn to let people, results, and timing come to you because you've built something strong enough to attract them, not because you're chasing them like a lunatic on fire. So stop forcing it. Start structuring it. Start mastering yourself, mastering your schedule, mastering your strategy. That's how you win long term. Not by screaming, not by sweating, but by owning your damn position and moving with deliberate precision. Force creates resistance, power creates flow. Choose your weapon wisely. Hustle without alignment is just burnout. It's not heroic, it's wasteful. You see people bragging about 18-hour workdays like it's a badge of honor, but if you're climbing the wrong damn mountain, all that effort does is take you further away from where you actually want to be. There's nothing powerful about being exhausted with nothing to show for it. Working hard in the wrong direction isn't noble, it's stupid. It's like filling a broken bucket. No matter how fast you pour, you're still ending up empty. Your energy is your most valuable currency. It's limited, it runs out. And if you keep spending it on things that don't matter, people you don't respect, and goals you don't even believe in, you're not hustling, you're self-sabotaging. That's not the grind, that's delusion dressed up as discipline. So many people are burning themselves out trying to impress the world with how busy they are, when deep down, they know they're just avoiding the real work, getting brutally honest about their direction. You want to win? You want to dominate? Then stop chasing every shiny opportunity and focus on the mission. Execution must match vision. And if you don't have a vision, you better stop everything and build one. Because motion without meaning is suicide to your potential. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right thing with ruthless precision. You don't build empires by sprinting in circles. That's how amateurs operate, confusing movement with progress. Alignment means you know why you're doing what you're doing. It means every action is a bullet, not a blind swing. But people don't slow down to think. They're terrified of silence. They think if they pause, they'll fall behind. But the truth is, without alignment, you were never ahead to begin with. You were just the fastest one on the wrong path. Stop. Get clear. Define your standards. Define your purpose. Define what winning even looks like for you. Not your friends, not society, not your damn Instagram feed. Once you know the destination, then and only then does the hustle make sense. Then the late nights have meaning. Then the pain has purpose. Without that clarity, you're just grinding for the sake of movement. And that's the fastest way to break yourself. Attack with precision. When your grind lines up with your goal, momentum becomes unstoppable. You don't feel drained, you feel ignited. That's the kind of hustle that builds legacies, not just resumes. So stop mistaking chaos for commitment. Burnout isn't proof that you're doing enough. It's a signal that you're doing it wrong. Get aligned or get left behind. Sometimes you're not working hard because you're ambitious. You're doing it because you're scared. Scared to fail, scared to sit still, scared to face yourself. You're moving fast not because you have direction, but because you're afraid of what happens if you stop. And that's the problem. Most people think effort equals progress. But if your effort is driven by fear, you're just spinning your wheels. Stop calling fear hustle. Call it what it is, insecurity wearing a productivity mask. You're not grinding for greatness, you're scrambling for safety. You're not chasing goals, you're running from ghosts. Let me tell you something most people will never say out loud. Fake effort is worse than no effort. Because it tricks you. It makes you feel like you're progressing, but in reality, you're just staying busy to silence the voice in your head. That inner voice that whispers, you're not good enough. You're not ready. You're gonna blow it. And instead of dealing with it like a damn warrior, you bury it under to-do lists, fake urgency, and meaningless hustle. You're not working, you're hiding, and you know it. Real ambition doesn't panic, it doesn't rush. It doesn't frantically move just to feel like something's happening. It's calm, calculated, focused. And if you can't sit still with your own thoughts for 5 minutes without getting antsy, you're not driven. You're disturbed. You think you need to grind harder, but what you really need is to get honest. What are you afraid of? Is it failure? Judgment? Is it the fear that maybe, just maybe, you're not who you say you are? That's the war. Not the emails, not the late nights, not the meetings. The real battle is internal. You've got to stop lying to yourself. Stop dressing up fear in ambition's clothes. That fear will ruin you. It'll drain you. It'll have you running 100 in the wrong direction, chasing validation instead of victory. You'll burn out, not because you work too hard, but because you never faced the reason why you were working in the first place. Confront it or stay stuck. That's the choice. The truth is, stillness takes more courage than action. Sitting alone with your thoughts, admitting your flaws, owning your insecurities, that's the hard part. Most people don't have the guts to face themselves, so they run and they call it ambition. But not you. You didn't come this far to lie to yourself another day. You came to rise. You came to own your greatness. And that starts by calling out the fear, stripping off the mask and facing the real fight. You want real power, then stop pretending. Real winners don't run from fear. They hunt it down, look it in the eye, and crush it. Period. Clarity is the weapon of the elite. It's what separates the ones who build legacies from the ones who burn out chasing shiny distractions. The man who moves with clarity doesn't waste time reacting. He acts with ruthless precision. He doesn't second guess. He doesn't chase noise. He eliminates it. Every move he makes is intentional. But the one who moves with panic, he's already lost. Because panic creates chaos, and chaos kills momentum. Most people are out here playing firefighter, running from one blaze to the next, always busy, always exhausted, but never building anything that lasts. You think your chaos is a badge of honor? You wear your stress like it means you're doing something, but busy doesn't mean effective. Movement isn't progress, and trying too hard without clarity, that's just a fast road to nowhere. When your mind is cluttered, your vision gets foggy. You can't see opportunities. You can't assess threats. You become reactive, not proactive. You jump into action without thinking, hoping more effort will fix the confusion, but it doesn't. It multiplies it. It keeps you trapped in a loop of doing without ever stepping back to think. Real execution, the kind that builds empires, starts with strategic clarity. You need to know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it fits into the big picture. Otherwise, you're just swinging blindly in the dark. That's not discipline, that's desperation. Clarity requires discipline. It demands that you pause, reflect, eliminate the distractions, and simplify the mission. What actually moves the needle? What's just noise? Most people don't ask those questions because they're addicted to the rush of being overwhelmed. They confuse chaos for commitment. But commitment isn't chaos, it's controlled fire. It's the power to channel your energy where it matters and cut the rest. You're not a machine, you're a weapon. And a weapon is useless if it's not aimed. Trying too hard often masks a lack of direction. The answer isn't to grind more, it's to grind smarter. You need a target before you pull the trigger. You need a plan before you charge. You need clarity before you act. That's how snipers operate. They study, they wait, and then they strike once. And it's lethal. Stormtroopers, they fire 1,000 shots and hit nothing. Don't be a stormtrooper. Be the sniper. Quiet, focused, deadly. So stop the panic, stop the chaos, get your mind right, cut the clutter, decide what matters, then lock in and move. Because clarity isn't just powerful, it's unstoppable. You don't climb a mountain by punching it. You study it, you respect it, and then you move, step by step, with awareness. That's how you win. Because success isn't a brawl. It's not about throwing wild punches at life, hoping one lands. It's a calculated ascent. It's knowing where you are, where you're going, and what must be done to get there. Most people are so obsessed with looking busy, they forget to be effective. They confuse motion with progress. But swinging harder doesn't make you stronger, it just makes you tired. The world doesn't pay you for effort, it pays you for results, and those results come when you stop struggling against the flow and start aligning with it. We've been taught that if it hurts, it must be working. That's garbage. Pain without purpose is just punishment. Struggle without structure is self-destruction. There's a difference between endurance and insanity. Some of you are addicted to struggle because it gives you a false sense of progress. You think if you're exhausted, you must be growing. But exhaustion without execution is just emotional masturbation. It feels like work, but it gets you nowhere. The real killers, the high performers, they move with clarity, they move with patience. They know when to strike and when to hold. They're not reacting, they're orchestrating. They've learned the power of surrender, not to the world, not to weakness, but to the process. Surrender doesn't mean give up. It means give in the path. Trust the damn path. Let go of the noise. Let go of the need to control every outcome. That's not power. That's panic. That's fear dressed up as ambition. And it's blocking you. You can't brute force destiny. You can't hammer your way into alignment. At some point, you have to sit still, look at the terrain, and move with purpose. That's when life opens up. That's when doors you were kicking down suddenly open with a touch. Because now you're not at war with the world. You're working with it. That's real power. Stop trying to force your breakthrough like a madman in a cage. Breathe, reset, focus. Success doesn't respond to chaos. It bows to precision. When you surrender the struggle, you make space for strategy. When you stop proving, you start improving. You stop spinning in circles and start moving forward. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with discipline, with clarity, with faith. So step back, stop swinging, and start seeing. You don't need more force, you need more focus. Surrender to the process. Own your next step, because that's where the breakthrough lives, not in the struggle, but in the stillness before the strike. You don't need to try harder. You need to execute smarter. Stop mistaking chaos for commitment. Your next level doesn't need more hustle. It needs more clarity, more courage, and a lot less desperation. Let the weak try too hard. You move with power.